Hi kids, in this video we will be learning about heat and temperature. So, what is covered in this lesson? First thing, you will understand the difference between heat and temperature. Second, how does heat flow from one end of an object to another? Third thing, some conductors and insulators of heat and common examples of them. Fourthly, how heat can cause an object to expand or contract. And lastly, how heat can change the state of an object. So let's get started. So you would have seen fire before. If you get near the fire, you will realize that it is really very hot. Now, that is because it has a lot of heat. So what is heat? Heat is a form of energy. It cannot be seen. I know what you're thinking, but I can see the fire, right? This fire over here. Yes, you can see the fire, but you cannot see the heat in the fire. Now, heat can only be felt, and that is why you feel very hot when you get near the fire. You know when you have a fever and your mom measures your temperature with a thermometer? She is actually measuring how hot or cold your body is. Basically, temperature is a measurement of how hot or cold an object is. Take note, it is not a form of energy. Temperature is not a form of energy, but heat is. Yeah? This image you see over here, these two, these are what you call thermometers. They are used to measure the measure temperature, right? This image is used to measure the temperature in your room, and this image is this thermometer is used to measure the temperature of a liquid. Just like how you use meter to measure, length, you use meter, and time, you use hours or second or minutes. For temperature, you use degrees Celsius or Kelvin or degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if you're in Singapore, which you most likely are, you will be using degrees Celsius as a unit to measure temperature. Now, this thing that you see over here, this is what you call the bulb of the thermometer. Now, to ensure that you are measuring the temperature of a liquid or anything correctly, this bulb has to be fully in the liquid. So if this is your liquid and this is your thermometer, you can see that this bulb is fully in the liquid. You have to make sure that it's not something like this. In this case, the bulb is not fully in the liquid. So this is the wrong way and this is the right way. Alright? And on top of that, when you are measuring, you have to make sure that you are reading the temperature at eye level. So let's look at this thermometer over here. So eye level meaning you have to read it like that. Your eyes, oh, it's the other way around. Let me just erase this and get a thinner one. So here, your eyes have to be at this level. You can't read it from here. This is the wrong way. Or even from here. This is the wrong way. So your eye has to be at the same level as the point where the liquid is. Yeah, and this is to make it accurate. So how does heat transfer from one object to another? Imagine you are holding a spoon. So this is a spoon, right? And you are holding it here. And it is heated on the other end. So imagine you are holding it on one end and it's heated on the other end. After some time, you will feel that the spoon is getting hot. Why? Because of heat transfer. Heat is transferred from a hotter object to a cooler one. When this happens, the temperature of the hotter object decreases as it is losing heat, and the temperature of the cooler object increases as it is gaining heat. Now that is why your fingers feel hot as you are gaining heat. The heat will continue to be transferred until both objects have the same temperature. So looking at these objects over here, this temperature will decrease, and for this object, this temperature will increase. Until they have the same temperature, there will be heat transfer. So when they both achieve the same temperature, there will be no more heat transfer. Yeah? The heat is transferred until both objects have the same temperature. You would have seen this object here before. This is a frying pan. When you see your mom frying an egg, which part of the frying pan does she hold? I guess you know the answer, yeah? She holds this part called the handle, right? Have you ever wondered why? Why does she hold the handle? Why doesn't she hold this part over here? So the reason why is because this here, this part is made of a material which is a conductor of heat. A conductor of heat allows heat to pass through it easily. When it is heated, the temperature rises very quickly. All and only metals are good conductors of heat. So this part of the frying pan is also made of a metal. Examples of metals are iron, steel, aluminium, copper, mercury, gold. So take note that only metals and all metals are good conductors of heat. Now, back to the question I asked you earlier in the earlier slide, why does your mom hold the handle? Why does she hold this part? Now, it's because it is made of a material that is an insulator of heat. An insulator of heat is a material that makes it more difficult for heat to pass through it. When it is heated, the temperature rises slower than it does in a conductor. All non-metals are insulators of heat. The handle is most likely made of a material which is made of plastic, which is also an insulator of heat. Other examples of insulators include rubber, paper, water, wood, cloth, any form of fabric, air, styrofoam, ceramics. So any non-metal you see, it is an insulator of heat. So I'm sure you have taken the train before, haven't you? Have you noticed that there are gaps between them? You see this gap over here? There are gaps on the train tracks. Now, have you wondered why? Now, there is a very simple reason for this. When objects are heated, the temperature increases. And because of that, they become bigger. So if you have a spoon that is actually this big, and you heat it up, it might become slightly bigger, right? And similarly, when objects are being cooled, the temperature decreases and they contract. They become smaller. So if you have a spoon that's this big and you cool it, you put it in a freezer, it might become this big. It becomes smaller, right? So the reason why these gaps are here is because when these metal railings expand, they will not clash. So if imagine your railings there are no gaps between them like this, when they expand, they will start to bend like that, right? And this will cause a lot of disruption. This will cause damage to the tracks. So the gaps prevent this from happening. Now we have come to the last slide of this video, so hang in there. I know you're getting tired. You would have seen that if you take ice out from a freezer, it will become water. Now why does this happen? Well, it is because heat can change the state that a matter is in. If you heat a solid, right? If you heat this up, it becomes a liquid this is the process of melting. And this will happen at the melting points, right? And if you heat up the liquid, it will become gas. This is the process of boiling. And this happens at the boiling points. And similarly, if you cool a gas, right, it goes through condensation. and it will become a liquid. And if you cool a liquid, like you take the ice tray, you fill it up with water and you put it into the freezer, it will become solid, and this is the process of freezing. All right, so if you heat an object up, it goes through, if you heat a solid up, it goes through melting to become a liquid. You heat it up more, it goes through boiling to become gas, and gas, if you cool it, it goes through condensation to become liquid, and you cool the liquid, it goes through freezing to become solid. Now, one thing you need to take note is that for water, the melting point is 0 degrees Celsius and the boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. Yeah, so water melts or freezes at 0 degrees Celsius and boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So this is it. The images that you saw in this video were taken from this link here, and thank you to them. And that's it. I hope you understood the content, and go score. Bye bye.